Best RAM for Ryzen 7, 1700. Mainly focused on productive and groundbreaking multitask handling, the Ryzen 7, 1700 3.0 GHz 8-core AM4 processor from AMD has a base clock speed of 3.0 GHz and a most extreme turbo clock of 3.7 GHz. Furthermore, this processor wields 8 cores with 16 threads and an AM4 attachment and has 16 MB of L3 store memory. Most RAM is perfect with most CPUs, excepting you have a motherboard that will fit both. The following is a rundown of the best RAM for Ryzen 1700. Top 3 products. 1. G.Skill Ripjaws V Series. 2. G.Skill Flare X Series. 3. 18-Group T Force Delta RGB. G.Skill Ripjaws V Series. Specifications. Brand, G.Skill, Memory Type, DDR4, Memory Speed, 2400 MHz, Capacity, 16 GB, RGB, No. As the most recent expansion to the exemplary Ripjaws family, G.Skill Ripjaws V arrangement is the freshest double-channel DDR4 memory intended for greatest similarity and bleeding-edge execution with the 6th-era Intel registered core trademark processor on the Z170 arrangement chipset. Worked with the best parts, tried under the most thorough conditions, and offered 5 shading alternatives. Ripjaws V is the ideal decision for building another presentation framework or a straightforward memory overhaul. Accessible in a wide scope of recurrence choices from standard DDR4 2133 MHz to a rankling DDR4 3733 MHz in double channels, Ripjaws V lets you appreciate a quicker registering experience for gaming, video and picture altering, rendering, and information handling. Every Ripjaws V DDR4 memory unit is tried with G.Skill's thorough approval process on all significant presentation motherboard brands to guarantee the top-tier unwavering quality and similarity over the largest determination of motherboards. Pros. 3200 MHz of memory speed. Sleek heat spreaders. Easily available. Cheaper. Cons. Slightly expensive. No RGB illumination. No LED sync support. G.Skill Flare X Series. Specifications. Brand, G.Skill, Memory Type, DDR4, Memory Speed, 3200 MHz, Capacity, 16 GB, RGB, No. The G.Skill Flare X Series arrangement DDR4 memory unit denotes the arrival of the unbelievable Flare memory that gave a wonderful exhibition in the past age of DDR memory, so we can perfectly choose it. Redesign your next AMD framework into a definitive gaming rig or an amazing workstation with the Flare X arrangement DDR4 memory. G.Skill's first passage into the DDR4 showcase was the Ripjaws 4 arrangement, and it ends up being gigantically mainstream. From that point forward, G.Skill has extraordinarily extended its DDR4 contributions. With the arrival of AMD's new Ryzen processors, G.Skill discharged to new memory lines only for it, Fortis and Flare X. Pros. 3200 MHz of memory speed. Sleek heat spreaders. Fair OC potential. Not fast enough for certain APUs. Cons. Slightly expensive. Non-enthusiastic design. No RGB illumination. 18-Group T Force Delta RGB. Specifications. Brand, 18-Group, Memory Type, DDR4, Memory Speed, 3000 MHz, on Capacity, 16 GB, RGB, yes. Memory modules with LED lighting are the same old thing, however, now the RGB fever is going full speed ahead. A few clients may need something that little additional unique, and the 18-Group T Force Delta RGB might actually be that. The Cubist Enlivened, the moderate plan is somewhat suggestive of wings and is enclosed by 120 degrees full-edge LED lighting. As a matter of course, The lighting shows a force flow impact, which is basically a rainbow wave. However, when matched with a good Asus motherboard that underpins Asus Aura Sync, you can modify the lighting impacts and sync them up with your motherboard. The Delta RGB memory modules depend on a redid JEDEC RC 2.0 circuit board, which gives more noteworthy protection between the force and sine layers in the PCB, guaranteeing effective, obstruction-free execution. Team Group T-Force Delta RGB is the cheapest option in our list, which makes it. Pros: 3000 MHz of memory speed. Sleek heat spreaders. Supports Aura Sync and Razer Sync. Cons: slightly expensive. Rarely available in the local market.